And hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we discuss the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics. Certainly, some exciting things that have taken place this week for Cardinal women's athletics, and we've got a trio in here today to talk with you about it. As I'm joined by Jeff McAdams and Case Hoskins, as Daryl is out trying to sell an apartment. An interesting proposition there. If you need an apartment, call Daryl. And Jared is just probably finishing up his post game interviews with Coach Sowery and the players down there as he went down to cover a quite early field hockey start this morning, 9 a.m. against Northeastern due to the.
Early or late?
I'm calling 9 a.m. early, Jeff. I don't know how much you
Well,
want to
I
know
was just
for
thinking
UMass, but
it was originally scheduled for 5 p.m. yesterday. So
yes, it was. They decided in their wisdom to move it to 7 right when the thunderstorm line rolled through.
right,
If they had stayed
just
at 5, they probably would have got the contest in before the first lightning strike. But
thus the players melted on that turf in the
well,
heat.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I mean they had no good choices for that.
I mean,
To
I
be fair,
suggest you write Salary and dress her down for her decisions.
no. I'm completely
There you
supportive
go.
of what they did. It just was
It's just
it's
one of those
amusing.
things. I mean, you
Yeah,
take a chance. All of a sudden, the band doesn't want to play, and you're out there dancing by yourself, looking like an idiot. Okay.
I assume that Louisville, like the university, usually follows suit with KHSAA rules as far as uh, games. Like if the heat index is over 104, they're probably going to
I would think your
take some
on-field temperature
measures.
would be important, yeah, Case, because
yeah.
as Jared will tell you, it's probably 10 to 15 degrees hotter down on that surface than it
Or
is up in the
more.
press box.
Yeah, that
Okay.
turf man is. Ooh,
Well, and I know with soccer particularly, they don't even need it to be that hot before they'll mandate the
the water
water breaks.
stops. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the water
yeah.
breaks. Yeah, for sure. And it's
I
just
don't
one
know.
of those
They may
things.
have some steps like that they take. Of course, they play shorter periods in field hockey, so they do get more of those breaks anyway. But yeah,
That is true. You're looking at 10-minute quarters compared to a 45-minute half, for
yeah.
example, in women's soccer. But hey, the guys you hear in the background are Case and Jeff here. Case, what's been going on this week for you, man?
Yeah, wife and I are two ships passing in the night for the last couple of weeks, and then the month ahead. It seems had some work travel this week. She had some public meetings on days that I wasn't doing work travel. Next week I got some work travel. She's got public meetings on days I'm not doing work travel, and
Wow.
then she's got a conference, and then I've got some more work travel. So it's interesting. Yeah, we jokingly said sometime last week that we'll see each other in October.
The complexities of young marriage. There you go. Yeah.
But
As
yeah,
long as,
it's been busy.
as long as you're carrying her picture in your wallet.
Oh yeah,
Okay. Done.
it's always there. I get the she's not the background on my phone. That spot belongs to my dog. but
And
but
that's
yeah,
and that says a lot, folks. Case, that's not your wife. No, it's my dog. All right.
hey, some people have their kids and my
That's true.
dog.
Hmm.
I have,
I get it.
yeah, I understand it. Jeff's
Yeah.
got a picture of a computer on his. Jeff McAdams also in the house with us today. He's had a busy week doing things here, there, and everywhere. Did you finally shake the crud that you brought back with you from the Northern Europe region?
Mostly. I'm still carrying cough drops around with me, but using them very, very infrequently at this point. So yeah, that's been a long battle. Uh, it's frustrating to say the least, but yeah, doing better.
And I'm hearing folks not to worry or anything, but that COVID might be rearing its ugly head here again in Louisville.
Yeah, a new variant of it has picked up apparently. So I'm gonna try to keep an eye on
No
that.
name yet.
I thought they named
Because
it
well, they've
like
got Eris, but apparently,
Eris,
yeah, the one that I heard, the two strains that they're finding in the wastewater the most are Eris and some other one.
some other unnamed one. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, lovely.
but they did at least say that the numbers are not equaling the like early spring
Yeah,
uh pop that Louisville saw. So
Yeah, and
Moderately encouraging, but still not great.
Yeah, and they're coming out with new COVID
Yeah,
shots
the
to be
booster.
taken along with like your fall flu shot and stuff. So
I mean, anybody that didn't see that coming is
yeah, I think that's just going to be
so you're gonna get your
just
annual flu shot part 2.
yeah, annual flu shot. It's going to be flu, COVID, and they're also doing one of the what is it? The RSV.
Yeah,
Right?
I've seen that one too for the kids,
They're
especially.
doing a shot for that you'll be able to take alongside your flu shot. So
Yeah, so
Everybody
Yeah.
waiting patiently for that Department of Defense researched combined coronavirus shot that just
does it all in one. Yeah.
it's an interesting concept because 3 people I know of have come down with this new strain, and that's a bit scary because actually one of them had a birthday party planned this weekend. That had to go by the wayside, and so what they're going to do is do a drive-by
Mm.
and wave to her from the safety of their cars while she stands outside and sneezes at them. So
Yeah.
Go back to 3 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of sad there, but so yeah, keep yourself clean, kids, and whether we'll get back to a mask mandate or a mask suggestion policy, well, we'll see. I'm seeing more and more people out in public with the masks on, especially Cincinnati. Last couple of days, I saw a bunch of people up there wearing masks.
So it's in views for sure.
Yeah, but it was a hospital setting, so you never know.
No, yeah.
But as for me, yeah, that was kind of my week in a nutshell. Got to watch some nice things, sporting wise, earlier in the week, and then spent 2 days up at UC up there, trying to get admitted to their kidney transplant program. They have a if not nationwide, a worldwide renowned program for the transplants. I'm trying to get acceptance to it, and they did everything but take my brain out to scan it. Okay, I went through a series of incredible tests up there, and then actually so many that I had to spend the night over. And they put me up, but I got 0 sleep up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't sleep well on the road anyway.
Yeah.
And this was such a strange environment where anyway. I'm back now. We'll probably take a nice long winter's nap this afternoon before volleyball in the middle of summer. That's it for me, but we got a lot of good things to talk about today. Like we mentioned, we just finished the field hockey game. We had a fantastic volleyball game last night, and we'll also talk about other women's sports that occurred this week. Yeah, but as we usually like to get into, let's do a little scheduling and X information. Everybody wants to call it X now, so that's fine.
Oh no, we don't want to. It may be its real name.
No,
I typed in twitter.com this morning, and it took me there. And then even though it was a redirect, it still said twitter.com at the top while I was surfing the page. So I'm still going to call it Twitter.
Next month they're going to call it Spot.
I really like that the news articles haven't figured out what really they're supposed to say about it anymore. Because I've seen multiple that are like, person posted on X, formerly Twitter. Person tweeted on X. Some people are just still calling it Twitter. It's like, yeah. Great,
so
great
if you
brand.
tweet on X, can you X on Twitter?
Can you X on Twitter? I don't know.
It's a curiosity.
Yeah. It's truly a mystery.
At least, our contact information hasn't changed that much. Case is going to decide which one he wants you to follow us on right now.
Yeah. We'll start with the scheduling. As we discussed, field hockey, in an unusual, I would say, scheduling quirk. Usually, the only things that we talk about events that have already happened or already started on Saturdays are day-long events like rowing or track and field, or swimming events. But field hockey already played. They started at 9 a.m. this morning. Due to the thunderstorms that canceled Friday Night Lights across the city yesterday. Volleyball is in action tonight at 7 p.m., taking on 21st ranked Washington State in their second game of the Cardinal Classic. Washington State took down Wright State in a sweep yesterday afternoon, and we'll talk about Louisville's sweep of Troy a little bit later on. Tomorrow, field hockey with a very short turnaround. They wrapped up just before 11. They'll start at 11 tomorrow. Not ideal when taking on number 2 Northwestern on the road, but we'll see what they can do there. That one is they even show you when you have to pay for it now. What an upgrade to the schedule! But that one is Big Ten Network Plus paid subscription there. Volleyball takes on Wright State. Their last game of the Cardinal Classic scheduled for 2 p.m. But I assume it's also scheduled to be the last game of the Cardinal Classic, so it would depend on Troy and Washington State's finish time. Women's soccer takes on the Norse of Northern Kentucky. They return home after a 2-game road swing. That one is at 7:30, so a pretty late start there in Lynn Stadium. Monday, men's soccer has a game against Bellarmine. So fun there for the intercity squads. Thursday, nobody plays on Tuesday or Wednesday. We still haven't gotten into some of the other fall events that will take place at random times of the week. Thursday, Louisville women's soccer still at home. Another 7:30 p.m. start. This one is against Illinois. And, I complain enough, and I don't have to skip to the next month to see when we have a week that crosses over. So, Friday, September 1st, football gets underway. ESPN taking on Georgia Tech in Atlanta, but not a home game, not technically a home game for Georgia Tech because it'll be at the, I don't remember what they call it.
Well, they played the Georgia Dome, is it now, or what's the name?
I don't think they call it the Georgia Dome anymore.
Oh boy.
That are Mercedes-Benz, whatever. It's hard to remember because there's 2 Mercedes-Benz. There's a Superdome in New Orleans, but whatever. They're playing in the Falcons Stadium, whatever it's called. That's part of the Chick-fil-A kickoff weekend, 7:30 on Friday night. Cross country gets started. The first event under the purview of their new coach. They are in Richmond at the EKU Triangular. What a name for an event. That's all day on Friday, September 1st. Field hockey heads up to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where they will take on Princeton in what is technically a neutral match there. I think they get Penn on Sunday. Don't have that right in front of me, but I believe that Penn is the host there.
That sounds right. Yep.
And volleyball continues the kind of traditional event that they've been doing the last couple of years, and I think there's one more year of it next year, where they wrap up the 4 teams hosting this year. It's Missouri getting to host. They'll take on South Dakota with a 2 p.m. Eastern scheduled start in the Mizzou Invitational. Men's soccer on the road takes on UNC Greensboro at 7 p.m. on Friday. That gets us through the week because the game against Northern Kentucky on Saturday for volleyball doesn't start until noon. So that gets us. So
I'm going to throw in a non-UofL event on this. If you're not going to go to Missouri, which I'm not for volleyball, and
go to the racing game.
Well, no, that too. That's always good to point out. But if you want to watch some good volleyball, teams that are of interest to UofL on Friday is Kentucky versus Pitt at Rupp Arena.
But then you had to go to Lexington.
Well, you got to pay the price somehow. So.
I would imagine somebody would show this one, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it should be on SEC Network or SEC Network Plus.
All right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it should be. I mean, those are both 2 very good teams. They are both teams of interest to UofL, obviously. I said they're both very good teams. They lost yesterday, but they both got badly upset yesterday. But
they're both angry teams, at least.
Yeah. So, but it should be a good matchup of just some really good volleyball. So I may drive down for that.
On the social media accounts, I'm still calling it a tweet. I can't get out of that. I tweeted at best case scenario. I think I tweeted more during the soccer game against Indiana State than I have in who knows how long. But look for that again tomorrow, most likely. I intend to make it out to that game against Northern Kentucky. Polly is at Cardinal Couple Jeff is at Card Couple Radio and at Jeff McAdams. When he ventures over to the funny name site. Jared is at Mr. Anderson Jared. Make sure now that we're in the full swing of the Louisville fall seasons, you're checking out his account for all the great photos that he takes.
Yes.
Both ones that will make it to the Cardinal Couple site and ones that won't necessarily. And then Daryl is at Daryl Faust 4, off out and about hosting the Bats, whose season will be wrapping up in a few weeks. I reckon as the baseball calendar winds down for the year. As always, you can still check out the right side of the Cardinal Couple website. Still working with all of the UofL accounts for now, but
and I do try to keep that one updated pretty regularly over there with stuff. So
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Twitter widget continues.
That's what I'm saying.
Work.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But you can either tweet on X stuff, or X on Twitter. I mean, however you want to do it, you can do it still. And we get some comments on stuff, so feel free to follow us if you will. But we mentioned an early start today, okay, for Louisville women's athletics. The game last night was rained out after 3.5 hours of rain and thunder and lightning and such.
Hailed here.
Yeah, I didn't get any hail out here, but we got some big winds out here in the creek. So they decided to cancel it and play it again tomorrow, or which was turned into today. A wise move indeed. Of course, the players didn't get much sleep on that. I don't know what the pregame preparation is for early morning match. I imagine they were up fairly early, got a breakfast in, and then had a lot of stretching exercises and such to do. But 9 a.m., they took to the field to play Northeastern, a school that is, I'm not going to call them a mid-major. I don't think they're quite there yet, but they are a very competitive squad, and actually came out and held Louisville to a 1-1 game at halftime as the Cards scored early and then gave up a goal in the second quarter. A situation where the Cards were getting a ton of shots, but nothing was going in the net. And unfortunately, that happens. The Cards, actually for the game, had 12 corner opportunities and only converted on 2 of them. Case will argue that and say they converted on all 3, but that's just a matter of semantics here. The third goal that Louisville got was a rebound off a corner attempt, so they didn't officially count that as a corner. Play it how you will. It doesn't matter. Louisville takes this one 3-1, an effort where Cards had a sister act going on here with Amy Plum, the outstanding player, veteran for the Cards, got a goal, and her little sister came in and scored a goal as well. How
Younger nice. Sister.
Okay, Jeff.
Because she's like, she's what, 3 inches taller?
I've never measured them back to back, but maybe that's something you could do for us.
Well, I'm just going on. I'm going on roster with the roster.
Go down with a tape measure and ask the Plums to stand back to back, and then you can run something from the tips of their tiny little toes to the top of their heads, and give us a full measure on the Plums.
Just going on what the roster
according to the roster.
Is it 4 inches? Yeah, I knew it was significant.
Yeah, and so we need to have this solved. Maybe
if I'm Amy Plum, I'm going to the whoever's in charge of updating the roster. Be like, can you not give me 5'8"? We're gonna list Chloe at 5'10". You can't just throw 5'8" up here. Who cares?
Yeah.
If I'm Amy, I stand on my tiptoes. Look, I'm not that. Look at me. I'm 5'10", easy.
Wear a high bun and be like, you got to count that. Be like Kylie Shook, at least 7'10".
Yeah, 7'2" with her bun, and actually played at 6'5". So yeah. Good to see the Plums active. You might call it a plum perfect effort. Oh, I'm sorry for the Cards today against a Northeastern team that really held in there and held their own for 3 quarters. But as the fourth quarter, the Cards did kind of come back and got some goals going here. And it was good to see that. We'll get a chance, I guess, to hear Jared's interview in tomorrow's article with Coach Sari. Just some numbers that I thought were pretty impressive on this one. Louisville had a 21-4 shot advantage and had an 11-3 shot advantage on goal. Okay, They also let in corners, 12-1. Uh, Jeff, that kind of spells offensive domination to me. What say you?
It does. There's some things in there that are a little concerning, though. The number of attempted corners versus converted, but also that's a lot of shots on goal that didn't make it in. So shout out to the goalkeeper there doing yeoman's work. So yeah, overall, solid win for U of L, but I suspect Salary found some things in there to to work on. We'll say.
Yeah, their goalkeeper case in number 99. I'm going to say it's Cam Marishoff, the announcing crew for Louisville today on the podcast pronounced her last name about 3 different ways. So
Hmm.
maybe she goes under a couple aliases too. I don't know. I'm going with Marishoff. Did a fantastic job, case against Louisville and stopping some of the attempts they were coming up with.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Christina Marishoff, I guess, would be as close as anything else that I would say. Um, Louisville found the gaps in that fourth quarter. Like we mentioned, they scored 2 goals there. On, if I can get back to where the stats were, I'm not able to look at the box score because they haven't updated it yet. So I'm playing with sidearm here, and I'm very unfamiliar with the layout. But Northeastern with just 1 save. Louisville had 5 shots in that quarter. Like we mentioned, put 2 of them in the goal. So um, pretty good effort there from Louisville to be able to get it away from the Northeastern goalkeeper, as opposed to some of the other quarters where a lot of the shots ended up able to be saved. And a pretty good effort, I think, from Louisville in goal as well. The 1 goal comes in a one-on-one after a not great pass was intercepted early in the second quarter, and then dribbled around right into the circle, which, as a former goalkeeper in a different sport, one-on-one is never ideal, regardless of how you get there. But you know, Louisville able to score early would have been nice to pick up a couple of goals in that first quarter or pick up a goal in the second, but set the tone with a goal by Cowheiser 4 minutes into the game, and able to keep their heads and apply the pressure early in the fourth quarter with a goal coming just in this under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, and then hold on. So I think, like Jeff said, there's definitely some things to find improvement in, but you come away with a victory. Definitely a better position to be in heading into tomorrow versus, you know, maybe a 1-0 or a 1-goal win or something that requires going to overtime. So comfortable enough, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want that extended play when you got such a short turnaround.
Yeah, it's like a 5-hour drive. And,
Yeah.
And then, hoping that you can get some stretching in.
Yeah.
You assume they would have needed to do some cool downs before they get on the bus for 5 hours, or you're going to have a really bad time when you get off that bus. But
Yeah.
the timing is definitely not ideal. I think that with the original setup that they intended to play at 5, have the night off, wake up, head down this morning, and then do what you need to do before a morning game tomorrow. And it's definitely thrown off with delaying an entire, half a day.
Yeah.
The guess here is probably, and Louisville only went 6 deep in the bench, so with the starters out there, get those starters and ones that came off the bench iced down first of all, first priority, and then get a lunch in them. Kind of let them stretch out a little bit, and I wouldn't put them on the bus any later than 4 o'clock, but that's totally up to Coach Sauer. What time they leave out and all, because you do want them to try to get a good night's sleep in. That's going to be very key as well, especially for the starters and the 6 subs that played, because obviously you're going to have to count on them against the number 2 in the nation Northwestern team. A Northwestern team that is showing that, guess what? The Big Ten is still alive and well in field hockey.
Yeah.
and doing some wonderful things. I've even heard it purported, and I don't believe it for a minute, and it was probably a Big Ten writer saying that Big Ten is now the field hockey conference in D1.
I mean, you got to think that it's close, you know?
Yeah, you'd have to think that it is.
Yeah.
I
They've
would
had
say,
some real improvements over the past few years. So,
and certainly so. Schools like Iowa and some of the other schools that are playing quite well,
yeah.
Northwestern up there. It's a good conference,
Okay.
and uh, looking forward to the battles that will take place as we go on with this. As the Cards certainly have a good recruiting edge. Our beautiful new turf, our great stadium, our fan support and all, but let's face it, some of these Big Ten schools are a lot larger than us population-wise and can have a lot bigger facilities than we have, although not to say our facilities are bad over there at Traeger. They're
Not at
pretty
all.
nice.
Yeah.
You got a nice weight room right next door, basically, to the grandstands over there.
The stadium's considered one of the best for field hockey in the country. I mean,
Yeah, and it's a brand new turf.
yeah.
So Sari said last year they got everything evened out on it. It wintered out very well and came back looking great. So, and then of course last night somebody dumped buckets of water on it from the heavens above,
Yeah.
and it drained
Awesome.
well.
Yeah.
It drained well. So, we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting contest. That we're thinking that this is going to be shown tomorrow, guys. Correct me on this, but on the Big Ten Network Plus, maybe.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So that is a pay-per-view. I'm really surprised that the Big Ten isn't just picking this up and showing it instead of throwing it over to their pay-per-view. But the Big Ten is all about money. There's no doubt about that. That conference is about money and will continue to be about money as long as it exists.
Which is true of all of them.
Pretty much. Fair. Even the ACC to a certain extent as well.
To be fair.
The SEC definitely.
Yeah.
The ACC's even said, well, we need to add a couple members to kind of increase our revenue and stuff. Well, we'll see about that. Who does the ACC bring in to join the group that they've got already? Yeah, I've heard Stanford. Okay,
I've heard Stanford and Cal very lively.
The Atlantic Coast Conference, which has extended its borders to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
I love it.
I've just been looking in the background here. I had to go back to the 2018 tournament. I didn't look in 2020. I don't remember if they played one in 2020, but 22, 21, 19. Had to get back to the 18 tournament before I found an at-large qualifier for the field hockey tournament that wasn't from the Big Ten or ACC.
That long?
Yeah, Princeton was the last at-large qualifier that was not from the Big Ten or ACC.
Wow.
In a regular season.
That speaks volumes.
Yep.
Because there are some very good programs out there, including in that you just mentioned Ivy League, where Harvard kind of came in and upset the apple cart last year on the Cards, if you remember correctly, in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, some of the Ivy Leagues can be pretty good in the field hockey. Princeton is occasionally steps up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So good for the Cards. They remain, of course, still undefeated as they'll head on up and then take on Northwestern. We look forward to that one, and we'll certainly have the recap for you, and along with other news in the Monday Cardinal couple, or in the Sunday Cardinal couple. I'm sorry, I'm off track now. It's going to be a Sunday game, so it'll be a Monday recap. As Jeff will be busy watching volleyball, we'll still be able to, I think, get some information up on his Sunday article.
Yep.
About the pregame, and then of course I'll have the results for you Monday.
Yeah. Reinforce that Chloe is taller than Amy by about 4 inches, because apparently you missed that.
Yes, indeed. We'll probably have to just, like I said, we're going to send you down to campus.
That's right. Measure it out
with a tape measure. Get them back to back, and you may have to duct tape them together because they probably won't want to stand still that long. And then have Jared take pictures of the whole thing, so we've got evidence. And we could probably get Demlin to come out and do a play-by-play of the taping and the measuring.
Yeah.
No, he'd want a fee, so we couldn't do that. He'll want to get paid for that, so I'll just come by and do the play-by-play on it.
Yeah.
Jeff has the duct tape in his hand now. He's walking over friendly. The girls are a little scared, but they're standing there.
Yeah, no,
Oh, there goes the first stretch.
I'll pass on that.
It's an idea, and I'm going to mention it to Coach Sauer that you volunteered to do this, and we'll see how it turns out. And Coach will probably give me one of those quizzical eyebrow-raising looks.
Yeah.
Paulie, have you been drinking already this morning? Yeah.
So a little follow-up there, because I've still been looking at large qualifiers. So Wikipedia stops telling me the at-large qualifiers when I get as far back as 2014. And then it just shows me the bracket, and I'm not going through the effort of looking that hard. Since 2015, there has never been more than one non-ACC or Big Ten team to qualify at large. Stanford did it in 2015. Princeton did it in 2016 and 2018. Like I said, that 2015 tournament, all 7 ACC teams were in the tournament.
Yeah, back in those days when basically everybody made it. Everybody in.
Yeah. So the Big Ten, they can call themselves the conference if they want, but I mean it's still ACC and
yeah, well,
Big Ten both at the top, and
if
ACC's
they
got the
are
reigning championship.
They are. It's a very recent thing in the past few years. I mean, we've definitely. I think that's what the discussion is that we've really seen this. What's the word for a resurgence when it's the first time? A surge, a surge of the Big 12 coming on, or Big 10 becoming, this really quite quality field hockey conference when they hadn't been.
I mean, they should try winning a championship.
Yeah,
they have one. Northwestern won it in 2021.
Yeah,
so they have one.
They'll get there. I mean, I'm sure they will. They're playing very good quality play. I'm sure they'll make it, but
I just don't think they've got a squad that in the big conference that can equal the one that North Carolina turns out year after year after year.
Well, to be fair, there's a little bit of question mark on whether North Carolina is that squad anymore too. So,
well, they have a new head coach, obviously.
Yeah, so it adds a few question marks there.
They're still number 1 though in the latest poll. So
yeah, but it's preseason, so who knows?
I still don't think
just in preseason poll ranks reigning champion and team that has won the championship 3 of the last 4 years as number 1.
Yeah, but they're not as good, right, Jeff? That's what you're saying.
Well, no, it's a question mark. We don't know if they're as good.
Oh, I ought to tape this and send it into campus. Oh boy, you would be on their hate list. Yeah, it's a very good program, and it knows how to recruit, and it knows how to get kids in the right way.
It is.
And until somebody knocks them off the block, they're still the bully in the neighborhood. Okay.
Agreed, but when you change head coaches, there's all of a sudden people are going to start having some more questions as I ask.
Oh, maybe that's true because we cried bitter tears when all of a sudden Pam Buston left us to go to Duke of all things.
Mm-hmm.
My God, she left us for an ACC school.
Yeah, and Duke no less.
Yeah,
particularly.
Justine Sauer came in and said, "Okay, I'll give it a go." She had been Pam's assistant before she was, I think, doing UMass, coaching UMass.
That's right.
And came in, and then we got into the ACC and started doing quite well as we got into there. And Pam Buston had to be thinking in the back of her brain, "Gee, if I had thought it out a couple of years, I could have stayed home. I could have been in the ACC with little."
I'm not going to cry for it at Duke.
Oh, it's a great program down there. I don't doubt it at all. But I really liked her and her style of coaching.
Yeah.
And but not to say that Justine hasn't come in and kind of put our stamp on that corner. Where, if you look past the scenic grandstands on the players' side, you can see McDonald's. A truly monumental statement about the state of our athletics, where fast food is key on the corner. Anyway, good stuff there. The Cards will continue their winning ways, hopefully against the Wildcats of Northwestern. Just been itching, jumping up and down in his seat to talk volleyball. So by golly, let's do that. Let's get him in here and let's talk a little bit of volleyball. Of course, the Cards took place in a little match last night as they played Troy. Troy brought his whole team with him.
Yep.
And the Cards.
All 7 players that were on the court were named Troy.
Troy et al.
Yeah. Troy, Alabama. For some reason, I always want to put it in California. I think because they're the Trojans, and I think of USC. But Troy, Alabama, they came up, and they're they're an okay team. They're nothing spectacular. They're not a national powerhouse. It was not a particularly competitive match, but respect to them for coming and playing. They played hard. They were fairly scrappy. They gave us some challenges at some times, but
Got a 3-point run in all 3 sets.
yeah. So definitely some question marks for U of L coming into this. Who is going to be the setter? Was a number one on my list, right? On who's going to be the starting setter. Ellie Glock did get that position. That was kind of where I was leaning, but I wasn't sure. There was definitely question marks on whether it would be Brigitte Petrenko. But there were also some question marks about middle hitting. Starters there were PK and Kara Cressy.
Who I think established.
Yeah, pretty well. But Hannah Sherman came in off the bench some and did some pretty impressive things. So I don't think it's completely 100% settled, but mostly. Gosh, midway through the second set when we were up like 10-2 or something substantial, they switched to a 6-2 offense, which allowed both Ellie Glock and Brigitte Petrenko to set at different parts of the rotation. It also brought Reese Robbins in on the right side, opposite of Aiko Jones. So we got to see her play some, which was nice. She acquitted herself very nicely. She brings a lot of power, a lot of height, 6'5", man. She's impressive.
The big outside.
Yeah, right side particularly. So we saw some great things and kind of answered some questions. The 6-2 is in play. It may not be what we do primarily, but it is in play, is available, as something that they apparently have done a little bit of and can switch to if need be.
And I think it worked for them based on the way they performed during, especially with Petrenko going on a 6-point serving run.
Right, yeah. I mean, her serving was amazing, so obviously you want to get her in there. They did forego Aiko's serving to do that, and certainly Aiko is quite a history of serving well. So, it's an interesting choice there.
Numbers. Let's look at a couple of the numbers, some very important ones, I think, in this one. Kara Cressy with 11 kills on 12 swings.
Yeah.
That's 917. That's not a bad batting average. That'll probably be around in the minors.
Not bad at all. No, she
11
she's good. Absolutely.
The Cards as a team hit 403.
Yeah,
that's pretty decent too, with 37 kills. And it was obviously a Louisville front line domination here. I don't think there's any doubt or question about that. Anna DeBeer had 9 kills in there, and also had an ace. Serving. So, it wasn't a good tune-up for Washington State, Jeff.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, this Washington State match today is a very big match. It's actually kind of on people's radar nationally because it is a top 25 match. And with as topsy-turvy as the top 25 was in day one, everybody's going to be watching this very closely now, even more closely. Washington State's a good team. They're kind of sneaky good. DBK commented publicly that she thought that 21 was too low of a ranking for this team, that they should be higher up in the rankings. So, if they can prove themselves this weekend, they will be, obviously, playing against us as a number 4, but also with all of the other top 25 teams that have lost, there's a lot of potential for moving up.
I was going to say, even if they lose to Louisville, if they take a set off Louisville and win their other 2 matches, both in sweeps, and
I think there's a very good chance
some of the other teams have taken.
Yeah, I think there's still a very good chance that they still move up even from that 21 position. So, yeah.
I have a question about Hannah Sherman.
Go ahead. I was going to do the match by the numbers, but
she is listed as a sophomore, but it's noted that she redshirted last year. So why is she not listed as a redshirt freshman?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it a scholarship thing? And if it's a scholarship thing, why be even noted that she redshirted? I don't know. It's just odd.
I don't know why it's that way. She did redshirt. So
I called them both freshmen when I wrote about in the article because, they're both newcomers anyway. Her and
Yeah, I mean,
Robin.
academically, she's probably a sophomore, I presume. But yeah, she has 4 years of eligibility, as far as I know. So
And Nancy Worley's gotten to the point where she won't even write her own recaps on the sports. There you go. Maybe it was a error, perhaps, by
Well,
whoever.
she's listed as a sophomore on the roster.
Who is Terry Curry anyway? I have no idea. But by the numbers, the Cards 25-18, then 25-12. The teams took a break to talk about it. Louisville probably had some chuckles, and it ended up winning the third set, 25-17. Capacity crowd again, Jeff. Everybody was in there.
Yeah, it was quite full.
They
They had some tickets returned, and so there may have been just a handful available at game time still, but it was effectively pretty. It was pretty full, pretty much a sellout. So, good energy in the crowd last night. I thought for the first game of the season, everybody's coming back, getting kind of back in the swing of things, and with playing against a team that was meh. It was really good energy in the crowd. Everybody was cheering. Everybody was up and loud, and it was great. The new lights, I think, help. The new lights in the arena. It just makes it for a little bit better atmosphere than the ones that were in there previously. So those are nice to have. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was quite noticeable watching on ACC Network Extra too.
Yeah, with the they can the color changing and lots of red now. Given we are who we are, but they are RGB. They can do any color they want, to be able to. It was nice. It was really nice, and I am glad for Assad, who is the videographer who does these, that the intro video gets kind of the attention that it deserves, because they can bring all the lights down where they couldn't do that previously, because mercury vapor, you turn them off, you take 15 minutes for them to turn on again. But so they were able to bring all the lights down and really bring the attention to the intro video, which has always been so delightful, across all sports, but certainly including volleyball.
As the Cards will now kind of take a look at what has happened here and get themselves ready for a fun one today. So I would recommend everybody try to watch this one if you can, if you don't have Saturday afternoon plans. If you can get down there and fight for a ticket, good luck. I'm going to watch it from the comfort of my home here on the ACC.
Yeah, there is an opportunity that some tickets will become available again. And Washington State is, obviously they're a big team, so they have probably good fan base, but it is West Coast. That's not quite West Coast, but pretty close. It's a long way to travel, so they may not have a huge contingent here. So, yeah, it's a possibility.
Expecting we'll need to hand Jared a sandwich as he crosses the finish line, because he was shooting field hockey today. He's going to, I think, try to attempt and shoot soccer or women's volleyball tonight. And then in between, he's got to go out with his wife and try to find a house to live in.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be searching for houses.
Yeah.
The boy's not getting much sleep lately.
Not a great market for that, it seems, right now. So.
The market out there actually is horrible. I'm so glad that I'm not a young person trying to find a home now.
Yep.
Because it's ridiculous. And the realtors, of course, are laughing. But anyway, that's once their sales start to drop, perhaps then we will see some parity and equality in the home market. But enough commentary on that. We'll move on to the final sport that we're going to cover today a little bit. And any last things on volleyball, gang, before we jump over to women's soccer?
Let's just hope for not quite so much top 25 chaos today, since we're playing a top 25 team. Let's hope it happens to everybody else. With just to kind of run it down real quick: Texas, Pittsburgh, Penn State, Kentucky, Marquette, San Diego, maybe. Yes. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
They were 13th.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they won or lost. Purdue lost.
It would have been chaos either way, because Oregon was number 9. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Baylor was 15.
Yeah.
But that wasn't an upset. That was Wisconsin.
Yeah. BYU beat Pitt, so that was a top 25 matchup there. Western Kentucky
beat Marquette
beat
and then lost to
Marquette
Dayton.
and then lost to Dayton. So by the transiting property, Dayton beat Marquette, right? So yeah. So I mean,
But then I think Marquette actually beat Dayton.
yeah,
Yeah, or they play them today. Maybe I don't know.
maybe
But,
play today,
yeah, they're having a ride up there in Dayton, Ohio.
yeah. So it's just it's just day one of volleyball, and it's just chaos. So it's a lot of fun to watch. There's the Volley Talk forums always have a weekly upset thread. They just went nuts yesterday, particularly when Texas lost, because holy cow.
I feel a little bad for calling out Syracuse, but technically
Oh
they
my
were
God.
upsets, even though
Yeah.
they're not in the top 5, and I don't think they're threatening being in the top 5. Like
Clearly not. Yeah,
like
they
lost to Navy and Albany
Albany. Yeah, I
in
mean,
sweeps. Like
yeah, it was bad.
Somewhere the fan base in Syracuse is looking for Leonard Yellen, asking him to come back, please. Please, Leonard, come back and take this program over, Mr. Yellen. But not going to happen, folks, as Syracuse needs to do a major rebuild of that program, it would appear.
Yep.
One would think anyway. But you said there was going to be chaos in Dayton, at least not on the women's soccer side here, Case, as they were able to get a game-winning goal with less than 5 minutes to go against the beleaguered Louisville women's soccer team in action on Thursday night. The Cards had this thing at a 1-1 contest, a standstill. It looked like it might end that way, which would have been at least kind of a moral victory, I think, for Louisville. And then all of a sudden, boom. With about 5 minutes left in the game, the Flyers were able to connect and send the Cards down to a defeat. Yeah, this was just kind of sad to watch it end this way, Case. I was a little bit upset about the way it ended, but Karen's got a lot of work to do, doesn't she?
More than we thought. I mean, we expected that there would be quite a bit that needed to happen coming into the season, and then a lot of those suspicions were confirmed with the start against Indiana State. Go on the road after that, certainly with not a bunch of momentum, and any that you might have thought you had is evaporated when you continue to not score against Xavier, get beat 2-0. Then you travel a little bit further into Ohio, up to Dayton, which, to their credit, 3-0 so far this season. They're having a good start to their year. Finally are able to score. They've outshot all 3 opponents and outshot on goal all 3 opponents. I think they tied with Xavier, but that's neither here nor there. And Louisville just, you give up a 50-50 ball in the box, and that's tough to recover from, especially late. I think, like you said, they would have liked to have gotten out with a draw. They might have deserved more than that, but I'd rather have a draw than not, than have a loss. We did see Malene Nielsen in for the first time, which I think, given how the season has been going, is not that surprising. I know that we kind of thought it was Aaron Floyd's job to own. She wasn't tested against Indiana State. 2 goals on 6 shots on goal against Xavier, and then gives up a goal, albeit on a penalty. Or no, one of the Xavier goals was on a penalty. So gives up a goal from open play in the first half against Dayton, and then we see Nielsen in the second half, who also gave up a goal, like I said, but finished with a couple of saves as well. The only 2 that Louisville had, actually. So I don't know. I don't know. Louisville is putting plenty of shots up. They're putting plenty of shots on target. I don't know how you improve that conversion rate, other than try to not kick it straight at the goalie. I guess I don't think that all 3 keepers they've played are all world. So you would expect a little bit more. We still haven't seen Maya Anand, as far as I'm aware. So I assume that there is some other reason she's not been on the field. When you bring in a striker that was a conference's striker of the year, scores a ton of goals, specifically you need some goals, and and she's not getting on the field, then you imagine there's some other reason for that. And I think that maybe was a major part of the plan offensively for Louisville. Geiser is good up front. I think that the plan would have been much more likely to have her and Wick um, on the outsides, feeding a true striker, or someone alongside Geiser at least being a true striker. And Louisville doesn't have that right now. So offensively, it's certainly not what we expected. Defensively, it's also not really what I expected. They didn't have, like Coach mentioned, rather aggressively after the Indiana State game. There was no test in that game for the defense, but then you've given up 4 goals in the 2 games since. So it's not where they want to be, and there's no time to waste to figure out how to get to where you're supposed to be. You get a game against NKU, and then you're hosting a big game against Illinois. And when we were talking about how you make the NCAA tournament, you needed to win most of the non-conference games, and you already are to a point where you can't win most of the non-conference games now. I guess they could still finish, 4-2-1 in non-conference, but that would be, I think, almost miraculous given the start that they had.
A few of the numbers of the team stat-wise in this loss to Dayton, the Cards actually outshot the Flyers 15-10. Give Dayton credit for their save work. They had 9 saves against Louisville. The Cards came up with 2 saves. The Cards led in corner kicks, 4-1. Louisville did commit more fouls than Dayton, though, a considerable number of those, 17-7.
Yeah, and I think that some of those numbers kind of play into what Case was talking about. I mean, it seems like UofL's shots are either off frame completely, or if they are unframed, the goalie can be wearing concrete shoes and just not move, and make these saves. I mean, I didn't get to see this one, but when that's what the numbers are, that's what it feels like, and certainly was pretty much the case the other day against Indiana State.
Yeah, and it was what I saw, Case, and I'm sure you saw the same thing too. Yeah, a lot of our shots were just like basically right to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, or completely off frame.
Yeah,
no middle ground.
It was frustrating because we were getting the looks, but perhaps this is just a team that is going to start slowly and blossom at the end of the season. And that's certainly something we can hope for. Certainly, I think you can look at this team and see the potential that is there. As Case mentioned, we've got some very good Euros on the roster now. You got to love the hustle of players like Maya Maxwell, who's come in and done some wonderful things. Raven Alexander's back again. Actually scored the first goal for the Cardinals this season.
Off the bench.
Yeah, off the bench. Yes. So I'm sure that Karen Ferguson Days has a plan here somewhere. I just don't think she finalized it yet.
She's not going to tell it to me because I ain't going to ask.
And
I assure you that much.
I think that it would be a great question for you, Coach. If you ask Coach Keza, so Coach, what's your plan with this team? Mm-hmm. How come they only have 1 goal in 3 games?
If I ask her plan for the team, she's going to say the plan is to sick them on you right now, and then I'm going to have a bad time. So
it's to have my Euros beat you up. How does that sound? No. We'll see what happens with that. Should be fun Sunday night. Be out to watch that one. Might even bring the lovely and talented Sonia with me to the contest as well. So we'll see. We've been getting good turnout, Cardinal couple crew-wise. The Case obviously has been at the lone home game we've had this year with me. Jared always there to take photos, and maybe we'll even get Jeff out for one. You never know.
Yeah, I might try and get out there. It's not Tennessee melting weather anymore, so that helps.
Louisville might have their hands full more than they expect tomorrow. NKU got to open their exhibition season a draw against Kentucky on the road. They beat Shawnee State in Portsmouth, Ohio. I don't think that really counts for much, but they beat them 8-0. Then they hosted Cincinnati and drew 0-0. They opened the season with a loss at home against Western Michigan 1-0 before coming to Louisville and tying Bellarmine 3-3, and then hosting Miami and winning Miami, Ohio, and winning 1-0. So, based on Louisville's season results so far and and NKU's season results so far, it's not going to be quite what people expected. I don't think.
The Bellarmine tie raises a couple of eyebrows, maybe, but
Sure, but they scored 3 goals.
They seem more offensively minded than we are. That's for sure.
Yeah, like they can score. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
You can find the net and kick it in there. Maybe that'll be the downfall for the Cards. We don't know. We'll wait and see. I think there's probably a bit of maybe, not desperation, but a bit of frustration on this roster for Louisville right now. They're kind of thinking to themselves, we're a good team. We just got to score, y'all. We need to pull together and get some goals. And
I also wonder now if they might have an issue looking back at because I didn't get to watch the game against Dayton, but looking back at the individual statistics, Victoria Wick only played 19 minutes. So now are you talking about an injury to one of your starting wings who has played a lot of minutes and been pretty productive out there, as well as Carson Sherry still not playing all 90 in any of the games so far? There's a lot of questions up and down the roster, and maybe it's not up and down the lineup. Maybe it's not an injury issue, and just that nobody is really doing what was expected, and we saw that from the very beginning with a formation change in the first 20 minutes against Indiana State.
One of the thoughts I had on it, because I did notice, like you did, Wick wasn't out there a whole lot, and I just got to kind of wonder, she's one that came over from Europe and maybe not accustomed to this withering heat.
That's true. She's from Denmark. It's cooler there, I think.
I think, does it ever get up to past 70 at Denmark? Obviously it's not. It might have probably been something where she walked outside and goes, "Oh my God, what is this? Put me on a freighter." But so that could have been part of the reason she didn't play as much. That's my guess on it, but we'll see. So fun things ahead. Hopefully the Cards will be able to get us back on the winning ways Sunday night, and hopefully the Cards will be able to continue the volleyball successes that they have had so far this season. And guys, that pretty much rounds up the 3 sports that I was going to talk about a little bit here today. Has anybody else got any other activities going on campus sports-wise, or anything else that maybe I didn't cover?
That's all I know about.
Boys,
I'm currently looking up the design conditions in Copenhagen, Denmark, to see just what the weather is there.
It's not going to be as warm.
Is what I found from 2000. I'm trying to find the current ones. The only ones I found so far were let's just pick the middle of Denmark. I don't really know where Copenhagen is. Let's see. So for some reference, Louisville's design condition is like 93 degrees. So for 99.6% of the year, the temperature will be below that. It looks like they've got a design condition of 81 in the middle of Denmark. So
81.
Yep. So cooler.
That's higher than I expected. Yeah.
Well, but that's their 0.4%. So 99% of the time it is below 77.8. 98% of the time it is below 74.2. So it's pretty cool there.
Man, I wasn't in Denmark. I was in the Netherlands, and it was quite pleasant. So in the middle of August. So
yeah, you might be onto something, Paul.
Yeah,
it might just be that 100-degree heat index is a little bit
tough,
a little unfamiliar.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Goodness gracious.
We'll see what happens.
Getting some climate jealousy here.
Yeah.
It's
and
just like
they,
an ice.
they like bicycles, so
Yeah, and then the ice caps are melting up there too. It's scaring everybody to death. Come on, guys.
Well, in Denmark, I suspect they are scared of that.
Yeah,
Their elevation is low.
Yeah,
It's like 100 feet in the middle of the country.
yeah.
that would be something, where the little boy's going to have to stick his fingers in a lot of dams up there.
Yeah.
It's a little nursery rhyme there, but so we'll hope that things can turn around for Louisville women's soccer a little bit here. I think that Karen Ferguson days was cautiously optimistic about this team when we talked about it preseason. She did kind of tell me that they needed some work to be done. Well, that's beginning to make it self-evident that there is work to be done. Hopefully, I'm sure that the practices are tough. I'm sure that they're very, very intense right now. And let's just hope for the best. Hope for the best, because we certainly have some fun things to watch with Louisville volleyball and also with Louisville field hockey. So why can't we not just get it all going? But make it 3 for 3 for the fall, right? All right, guys, let's go ahead and move it on into final thoughts then, and we'll let Jeff start out with final thoughts right now.
Yeah, I got nothing. I want to live someplace where bicycles are the main form of transport.
That would be fun for you. Yeah. I would want a 3-wheel bike.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's common.
With my balance and mobility now, I don't know how I am on 2 wheels anymore.
That's very common in a lot of places where bicycling is common. I have tricycles as part of that. Yeah.
I've always said it would
be easier to carry your
have
groceries in a basket on the back of a tricycle than in a basket on the back of a bicycle.
Have you ever seen like the cargo bikes that are common in like Amsterdam? Very cool. Like it's a bicycle, 2-wheeled, but they got this big, huge box. It's like 3 feet long, 2 feet wide, 2 feet deep. So it's like you can put cargo in it.
I would want 2 wheels in the back. That just seems difficult.
Yeah.
You gotta. There's a lot of planning that goes into packing that thing.
To keep it balanced. Yeah, there's probably is some of that, but they use them quite frequently there, and never seems to be a problem. So
I'm calling on the Cardinal couple crew to get me this for my 70th birthday.
A cargo bike or a cargo trike?
A 3-wheeler.
Yeah,
I've ridden a tricycle.
Yeah.
I did too, and I was 4. Okay.
No, like a full size one. The kind we're talking about here. They don't like to go.
And then I'll go ahead.
Well, they're front wheel drive, just like regular bikes, front wheel steering, just like a regular bike. And if you are going backwards down a hill and down a curve, and you don't have that rear wheel steering, you might have a bad time, like I did. So make sure you keep it pointed forward.
That's probably what I want to do on a bicycle is go forward. Yeah. And my problem, honestly, the last time I rode a 2-wheel bicycle was I had to stop. And then when I slowed down, I kind of lost my balance and wasn't able to get my leg out in time, and ended up doing the bike fell on top of me. And so I was kind of worried about that. But one of those things with a 3-wheel bike, I wouldn't have that problem. And who knows, I could even possibly, do things around the neighborhood with it, have some fun. So that's my wish list. Okay, guys. Case, final thoughts.
I should have held on to the design conditions thing. But you mentioned cautious optimism from Karen Ferguson days going into the season. I'm not ready to write them off. There are things to be encouraged by, results notwithstanding. So we'll just see. That's what I'm looking for is some living up to potential, like we mentioned.
It is indeed. There are certainly some talents and some pieces there that I think could be a very, very good part of the program. All they have to do is just get those in gear right now and get those happening right now. And Jeff, look at Jeff, send me a bike. How about that?
Send a picture of a cargo bike.
Just to see what they're like. He texted me a cargo bike. Oh my God, it almost looks like a wheelbarrow on the front of that thing.
Right?
It is.
Seriously.
I can see it now. It's fall, and so it's like, get your bike out. We're going to go rake leaves. Oh,
yeah.
Great. No,
Yeah, we gotta make a trip to Lowe's, pull a bike, cargo bike out.
Yeah, and then those guys will think it's a dumpster and start throwing stuff in there.
I mean that literally is how they are used in places like Amsterdam, Netherlands, Denmark, where biking is predominant. So
I think it's pretty cool. I'm on favor one.
Yeah,
I would do it. I would make small trips on one of those like that.
Yeah, and they have tricycle versions too, as well, of course. So yeah,
Some of these
I'm
tricycle
sure they've
ones
got
that I just
tricycle
googled,
lanes.
these are hilarious.
Yeah.
They look like a wagon, or one of them. I'll send you a picture. This one looks like a bathtub. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Podcasting is a visual medium, don't you know?
Yeah.
To quote to quote one of my favorite podcasts, it's a visual medium. You gotta see what we see. But yeah, they're
yeah. Anyway, I've thoroughly derailed the whole conversation now.
As I am ready to go through wheels, okay, and I want to see this collective here we've got here for the Cardinal couple broadcasting and writing crew to make it their goal number one to put me in three wheels by, I want to say, 2025. You got a couple years, guys.
Yeah.
You got a couple years, guys. Start saving your nickels and pennies, because I want to be three wheeling by then. I'll even attempt to take the bike from my house down to Lynn Stadium.
Oof. I wouldn't.
Match.
Yeah, that. Oof.
I will be leaving at 4 a.m.
I don't know that the distance and time is the issue. I'm just safe routes.
And I'll be going back roads the whole way.
Yeah.
Yes, I will not be attempting to take
late
my
in
bike
the season.
out on the Waterson
degrees.
or the Snyder. I will not be taking the Waterson or Snyder.
No. Well, that would be illegal in any case, but
it would be fun for a while, but no.
For some value of fun, yeah.
I wonder how fast you can get up to on one of those three wheelers. But anyway, enough on that. The final thoughts is here. Let's hope certainly that we can have some very, very good results over the next couple of days here, Saturday and Sunday for Louisville athletics on the women's side, and certainly get some things rolling and continuing to roll. Wishing volleyball especially the best of luck tonight in their match. And if you haven't, I know it's early in the season, but I'm just telling our listeners, if you haven't watched this volleyball team this year in the new and improved Cardinal Arena, you owe yourself that opportunity if you can go in person and get in there in person, watch it on TV, because it's spectacular. Yeah, it is so much fun.
ACC Network Extra for both tonight and tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, so you can catch it on there. Do yourself a favor, do that.
Yep.
Have fun with it. And I want to thank you all for listening today. It's been a fun show, and we'll certainly be back with you next week with more news about UofL women's athletics here at Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. Thanks, Jeff.